Hello, I have a message for you from Le Notebook. I asked my guides today about a message around connection because that's the message from the Dreaming Women Council today on how to foster connection and what ways that can help you and kind of ground you and bring you back to center. And I've talked about that a lot already on my channel. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just let my guides choose. Like, where are we missing, right? Where can we add to this little narrative, right? And it gets there in the end, but it starts in a weird place, right? Because also I was like, what's going on? Like, is there anything new? What's going on? The energy is just so insane. We're all getting very tired with it, right? So here's what they said. This is about February, almost the rest of February. There's no exact dates because it's warbly, it's timey-wimey. It's like you guys keep saying in the comments, it's Jeremy Bear me, man. It's free will based. It's free will based. And they touch on that here too, about how that can change a little bit. Okay. The heavy will continue to get heavier. The dark will continue to get darker. The contrast will grow as the fires swirl around the brush. And listen, some of this is literal and some of this is figurative, and I feel like it's a healthy mix again. My guides love to do that, right? So I'm going to have fun with you seeing this stuff come true. The bush will burn, and many timelines will lock in or lock out depending on your perspective. Now, bush, they said the bush will burn. I did have a flash of the continent of Australia in my mind, but I feel like it's not just about Australia. And also, I'm not really sure if that flash was me wondering, or because I didn't ask for confirmation because I was like in trance state, and so I just kept going, right? I'm not going to stop to ask for confirmation, so that's going to be a fun one that we're just going to figure out together. But even if it is just Australia, I feel like it's more too. But I thought that term was interesting, the bush, because that's not how I speak. I'm American. I don't really speak like that, the bush. So it's interesting. The bush will burn and many timelines will lock in or lock out depending on your perspective. The joy will continue to grow. The light will become brighter. And while all this takes place, the shadows will be exposed for both each person and each unit. And I kind of in my brain went unit because I didn't understand. So they said groups, organizations, small and large governments, and ideas. I was like, okay. As the contrast extends in all directions, the more rigid parts will crack and break in their own time, in their own ways, securing new timeline groups of both the high and the low. The future you, oh yes, sorry. It's trance. I don't remember what I wrote. The future you chose to experience on your planet is entirely up to you. The future you choose. Oh, the future you choose. Oh my God, the handwriting. The future you choose to experience on your planet is entirely up to you. Where is your focus? Is it on the light or on the dark? That is your compass. That is your direction. At this time, there is a possibility of surpassing both your greatest joy and your greatest fear. It is up to you, only you, what direction you choose. And I saw, in case the verbiage isn't clear here, I saw if a timeline was linear, remember that taffy thing I said that was pulling, and it was pulling, and then one day it's just gonna break. Well, earlier in this message, we've already said, I see some of the strands of taffy popping and breaking, but the core of the taffy is still together, right? So the core of the taffy, as it pulls, they're saying it's up to you which way you're pulling, essentially, right? So your greatest joy would be the light side, and your greatest fear would be this side. So you have equal possibilities. It's solely up to you, free will, baby, on if you surpass your greatest idea of joy, that even the greatest thing you could imagine, you can surpass it on this timeline, because we are on the highest timeline, and we know we're on the highest timeline because it's the most chaotic and we are clearing out the most things. So it is the highest timeline. So you can surpass what you think is the greatest possibility, or if you allow yourself to fall into fear, which some people will need that because some people still need to work through that, and that's okay. That's okay, because the fear is not permanent. The fear is not permanent, right? But if you pull back and you surpass even your greatest fears, that will help you heal all the things. So either way, you are going to anchor yourself into whatever direction you are headed, because that's the direction that you need for your own soul growth, your own movement forward. All right. It is up to you, only you, what direction you choose. The power is returning to the collective. It is draining. And when they said collective, it's like I saw individual people. It's not like there's one power of the collective. It's like our power stacks upon each other. So it's still up to each individual. So the power is returning to the collective, like each individual. It is draining from those you once allowed to choose for you. And I got this idea of like a proxy, like before when somebody would say, well, I'm in charge now and I'm raising your rent. And you would just go, okay. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to let you choose, right? Instead of choosing consciously your own creative power, which we're learning how to do now as a collective. All right. In this momentum, there is a possibility that is faint. This is where we're talking about Kamala. The possibility that is faint yet growing stronger to allow yourselves to bypass the experience of your singular Lotus Queen and instead create the higher vibrational option of the Lotus Council. And the word council didn't fit. They weren't purely satisfied with that word, but it was the best word to fit for our understanding is kind of what I got. So just keep that as like a general term, the word council. All right. So what I saw here when they showed me this in my mind's eye, I saw it could be Lotus's POTUS, or we could surpass that, surpass the need to have that, because Lotus's POTUS is like the stepping stone to the next thing that's even better, to the next thing where we don't even have a president, we have like a small group of leaders. It's like very different, right? So we could surpass the need for this one person, and potentially by, overshooting, right, the moon and reaching the stars, essentially, we could bypass that one experience and say, no, we've outgrown the need for that, and now we're just going straight to the council. I mean, this is how growth works. Sometimes you overshoot and you end up way further down the line than you had intended. That is what do they say, a faint possibility? It's faint yet growing stronger. So it's a faint possibility. And when I look at that and I look at the timing is very roughly the same. Like there might be 1 or 2 weeks on either side of it. So it's mostly, because what's 1 or 2 weeks of a whole year, right? When I look at the whole year, but it's definitely an energy of, we either are focused on Lotus's POTUS or we're focused on the bigger picture, right? So it's up to you. If Lotus's POTUS is the most comfortable thing for you to focus on, that's what you focus on. If the bigger picture is the most comfortable thing for you to focus on, that's what you focus on, okay? Do what resonates with you. The higher contrast at one end of your vibrational spectrum, the higher the contrast at one end of your vibrational spectrum, the higher the contrast at the other. For as bright as your energy shines, there shall be balance of an equal darkness. That's just how it works, by the way. This co-experience of your differing densities will last only as long as the collective can hold it. So eventually that taffy will just break. There are shifts in your air, your waters, and your land that can be felt by all who are looking. They have worked their way down into your third density and are affecting your technology and travel. Stay in tune to the guidance of your higher self to ensure you do not become part of the riptides in your fabric of space-time. And remember, higher self, follow the joy, right? Watch my video on what is the higher self if you need a reminder. The towers are falling. It is up to you how involved you choose to be in its wake. Community, if aligned, can keep you grounded. Listen to your gut, follow your joy. All answers are within you. So this message is all about coming back to self, right? Focusing on yourself. Mine is all about, I guess my message today for the council, the people who are sharing the videos. And remember, we're all dreaming women. If you are a dreaming woman, you're a dreaming woman, right? And that is gender irrelevant. Everyone is welcome into this group. We just are sharing these collective messages for unity, right? And so this message here from my guides is all about focusing on your own energy, focusing on your own self, and that's how you make the connection. It's the connection back to self.